Hey everyone, I'm going to be going over the instructions for the water scarcity assessment. This is the last assignment you'll have on water scarcity in the Middle East, and it should tie together everything we've learned about in this component of our Middle East unit. So first, let's review that compelling question. This is the big question that's been driving our study of water scarcity. How can the Middle East ensure water security without harming the environment or the well-being of its people? Here's some background. In this unit, you have explored the reality of water scarcity and the effects it has on people, the environment, and economies in the Middle East. Understanding that access to clean water is a human right, how can Middle Eastern nations ensure that all people have access to enough water without harming people or the environment? So that's kind of the predicament we've been discussing the last few weeks. Here's your task. Your job is to work as an analyst for the United Nations and present an honest critique of one of the following solutions to the water crisis. The United Nations is an organization of leaders from different countries across the world that talks about and tries to come up with solutions to big world problems. And water scarcity is one of those big world problems. So this is a real task that the United Nations would face. And you are going to choose one of the four solutions we've discussed in class and provide the pros and cons to that solution. So you can choose from cloud seeding, iceberg towing, man-made mountain, and desalination. You're going to choose one of those, and you can see there's little check boxes, so you can check the one you've selected. And right here, it says click here to learn about these solutions. If you click here, it'll take you to this Google site, which we already used in class, and it has the assessment right here, but also it has different pages with a lot of information about each solution. It provides information on how that solution impacts the environment, the economy, people. Everything you need for your critique, for your project, is in those different pages. So you want to read them carefully. Once you've chosen which solution, think about what you're going to make. Are you going to make a brochure, a Google site, a Wii video, or an infographic? You can choose any of those four options, and if you have another idea, just talk to your social studies teacher. No matter what you're making, your final product should have all these requirements under requirements checklist, and these requirements are described in detail on the rubric, and I'll get to that in a moment. Your project needs to have a description of the solution. You need to explain how it impacts people, how it impacts the environment, how it impacts the economy, at least 3 visuals, and a visual is anything that's not written text, so like a photograph, a video, graph, chart, etc., and pride in work. Now you might be saying, like, what do those different things mean? That's when you look at the rubric. So there's 4 categories you can score in: incomplete, approaching, satisfactory, and excellent. The most you can get for each category is 4 points. So an excellent description of the solution is the student provides a detailed, thorough explanation of how the proposed solution could or could not help the water crisis. Specific evidence is cited to support their ideas. Again, you want to go through the blue column because that's our goal, right? If we're doing our very best work, we really want to shoot for the stars and go for the blue excellent category. And you want to read the criteria for each requirement and what that looks like. Green is also a good goal for many of us. We really want to avoid being in approaching or incomplete because that's usually when we didn't put in our best effort or we're just missing parts of the project. And you are going to be asked at the end to score yourself. That's why you see self-reflection score, but your social studies teacher will tell you more about that. There is also a RAGES requirement to this project, and that actually has its own rubric. It's the RAGES rubric you've seen before. And for your RAGE response, you will be answering that question: how can the Middle East ensure water security without harming the well-being of its people or the environment? So it's finally time to answer that question in a RAGES format. That should be a written paragraph that is in your final product. So it's a part of your brochure, or it's a part of your infographic, or like on your video, like you can give a little visual of it, or whatever you're making, it should be there. But the RAGES response is worth 25 points, so it is a big chunk of this assessment, so don't miss that. If you have any questions about this, please talk to your social studies teacher. You will have an entire week to work on this assessment. Plan it out. Don't save it all for the last few days. Even if you don't have in-person social studies to the end of the week, you are still expected to work on this assignment throughout the week.